Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Jeff Dover, and with me is John Barbin. Let's talk football.
Yeah, let's get to it. And if you like what you see here, please subscribe. It'll help out the channel. We'd super appreciate it. So we're previewing the NFL Week 4. I'll just jump right in here, I guess.
How did you feel about the preview? Like, did you like putting it together? Are you excited about games overall, or what are you thinking?
Yeah. There's finally a few things. I mean, we have more information on these teams, so now I can have more anticipation for some of these games. Obviously, at the beginning of the year, you're just going on what's on paper. You don't have any history with the teams yet. So I got a few
I'm
here.
the same. Yeah, I'm the same way. There's a couple of matchups that I'm like, oh, this is a little more interesting than it was 2 weeks ago, just because of what's happened and what it means now. So I feel like it's ramping up a bit.
100%. So that's my number one game. And the Commanders have earned the shirt again. The Commanders and Cardinals, that's my number one most interesting game I'm looking forward to this week because of what Jaden Daniels just did. And now, okay, notwithstanding the Cardinals' last game wasn't great, but there's still potential with Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray to have a big, interesting game on their side too. So, but it's mostly off of the wings of what the Commanders just did on Monday night. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt to show up again and look like a fun watch this coming into this game against the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. You can tell. I feel that it's going to be a good game. I think because it's the highest over under of the week at 50.5, so it should be relatively high scoring. So that'll be good. And it's no, I can't believe. First of all, I can't believe that's your number one game because it's the number one game I'm excited to watch too this week. So I can't believe we picked the same one. The second thing is that if you told me 2 weeks ago that Washington, Arizona was going to be my number one game, I wouldn't have believed you just because of how the team started. But you know, I want to see what Jaden Daniels looks like again. I want to see if it's the Monday night Jaden Daniels that comes out against Arizona. And Kyler Murray's always entertaining to watch. It's at Arizona, so I want to see how Jaden Daniels handles that as well. And Harrison Jr. is an excellent receiver, and so that's always makes the game interesting as well. So the fact the high total should be a good game. Arizona's favored by a little bit. You know, that's a sneaky good matchup early on in this week.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have thought of this a few weeks ago when Washington won a game only kicking field goals.
Yeah, no, I would have called you an outright liar that if you said it was going to be my number one game this week, but things have changed and it's looking better.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, and on that theme of things changing, my next one's the Bills-Ravens. So Ravens finally got themselves right, it seems like, and the Bills look like maybe the best team in the NFL right now. So if the Ravens can keep up with where they left off after basically kicking Dallas's ass, like the final score there wasn't indicative of how bad of a beating that really was. Like getting an onside kick and kind of what I would call a garbage time touchdown. The Ravens really just took it to Dallas. So they look whatever they were doing in the first 2 weeks, they seem to have got some of that right. And unless it's just Dallas's run defense is that bad, and I don't know, we'll see. Either way, this looks like it's going to be one of the best games of the week if they both show up like that.
Yeah, and it's good that it's at Baltimore. It's the 8 o'clock. It's the night game on Sunday, so that environment's going to be good. But it's sort of it feels like a sneaky important early game to Baltimore because they started 0-2, then they beat Dallas. They play at home against the Bills, then they're at the Bengals next week, and so you know you could be looking at like 1-4. You know, if things don't go well, right? So I feel like it's more important now than ever to win the home games for them, and especially in an AFC, you know, sort of rival team. And so that's gonna be a tough environment for Buffalo, but I feel like Baltimore is going to be heavily motivated to do well in that one.
I mean, these are supposed to be two of the teams that can challenge the Chiefs, right? Now, in the last number of years, neither of them can get over the hump, but at least they're there at the end of the playoffs. At least they're there at the end of the playoffs. Neither of them have managed to do it yet, but they've besides Burrow, they're the ones who've come the closest. Burrow's obviously done it, but you know, with that said, Cincinnati looks like there's something wrong with them. All right.
What's the next one you got?
Vikings, Packers.
Vikings. Yeah, that was my number 2 game that I'm excited about.
They look like the best team in the NFC right now. The Vikings. Yeah. Odd stat line last week, but they kicked the crap out of the Texans. And I get it. We're talking about the Packers Well, do we know is Love playing or is it Willis again?
I don't think so. As the time of recording, I believe it's Willis is still listed.
Which is
But
nothing wrong with that. Willis has
nope.
looked good. I mean, he's
Yep.
2-0. I mean, he's won all the games that they've won this year, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he looks good, and hopefully he can keep it up against the Vikings and put in like as good of a performance. I mean, I don't know what to expect here. I would have said earlier that the Vikings were going to run right over them, but Willis looks good enough, and LaFleur seems to know how to use him.
Mm-hmm.
So this has got to be this is a must-watch game for me.
Yeah, and it's a sneaky important game too. It's a conference game. They're in the same division, the NFC North. It's the only division that has 3 winning teams out of 4 out of the whole NFL, with Minnesota 3-0, Detroit 2-1, and Green Bay 2-1. So it's it's a big difference going 3-1 and 2-2, to start the season. So it's an important game, conference game. So yeah, no, that's I love if I think the fact that you're going with Malik Willis again, if they go with him at home is good. And I want to see if the Josh Darnold can, keep it going, like keep this run going on an tough away
Sam
environment.
Darnold.
Sam
Darnold.
Darnold. Sam Darnold.
You're making things up now.
There was another Donald I knew at one point. So
Yeah.
it's Sam Darnold is the quarterback for Minnesota, and and I'm excited for him to look good again.
All right. What else you got for best?
The other, I've got one I'm pretty well. I'll save that one. So the other one I'm excited about is Seattle Detroit. That's one of the best ones I think I'm as well. I want to see. I haven't had a lot of eyes on Seattle so far, but I want to see this miracle 3-0 team going into Detroit and seeing what they look like, because I'll be able to. This is the second game too on the Monday night, and so I'll be able to watch every snap of this one. And so I want to see Goff and them at home. I like watching Detroit, and then it's been my first real chance to absorb Seattle and see what it looks like.
Yeah, that's good timing for them to be on Monday night, given how well they're playing. A bunch of people around the country who haven't quite caught their games yet are going to have a chance to see are they legit or not.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's all I got for best games. Do you have any more?
No. What do you got next?
Disaster watch, Cowboys Giants.
That's I have that in my intriguing list. It's not as for a disaster for myself, but I want to watch that one.
Well, it's a disaster watch mostly because one of these two teams' season's in big trouble, whoever loses. but much worse for Dallas, given the expectation going in. No one expected the Giants to do anything this year.
Yeah.
So if they lose this game, they're like, okay, that's the Giants. But if the Cowboys lose, this is big trouble if the Cowboys lose this one. And given the way Neighbors is playing, and the Giants had a pretty decent showing last week, and how awful the Cowboys looked, this could be like the media will be all over the Cowboys if they lose this one, especially to the Giants. It's different if they lose this one. If this was the week they lose to a team as strong as the Chiefs or something like that, but to a team that's supposed to probably be finished last in their division. Yeah. And if they lose, I mean, this is all the pressures on the Cowboys in this one.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I'm looking forward to watching it, because if they lose, it's so bad for so many reasons. There'll be 3 losses in a row. This is one of the weaker games on their schedule. They have a tough schedule coming up after this too, because I think it's at Pittsburgh. Yeah, at Pittsburgh, then Detroit, then the 49ers. Like that's not so they potentially would be like 2-4 or 1-5 or something in that stretch, would be really bad. So it's a must win, and it's an away game, and New York showed some life last week. So I try to watch these things as a neutral observer, but I'm full blown Giants fan this week. I would like to see the Cowboys lose. I think I would love to see what kind of disaster unfolds after that. But I'm going to be really pulling for New York this week.
Mm-hmm. What do you got next?
So the other interesting one, what did I have here? Hold on, you do another one.
All right. So I have an unwatchable category.
Oh yeah, give me the unwatchable one.
So there's 2 in here. Titans, Dolphins. There's just no reason to watch this game. Yeah. Will Levis is a mess at quarterback. The only reason to watch is, can he come up with an even worse play than his worst plays of the last 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And then the Dolphins QB situation is so terrible that this is just going to be an ugly game on both sides. I don't. I mean, obviously, Titans fans and Dolphins fans might watch this game, but I don't see why anyone else would tune into this.
No.
And the other unwatchable game is Browns Raiders.
Yeah.
The Raiders just look like whatever. They don't have a real starting quarterback. I get it. Minshew's okay, and I mean, I don't know, O'Connell, whatever. It's just a team that this isn't the team moving forward. Like no one believes Minshew's the future. No one believes O'Connell's the future.
Mhm.
So I just don't think anyone other than Raiders fans, even if Raiders fans are excited, are going to tune into this. And the Browns, just because of Deshaun Watson, are so unlikable. The rest of the team, I like. It's just he's such an unlikable figure for all of his off-field issues. Plus,
Yeah.
for how much he's getting played and how bad he plays, I just can't see how anyone would care to watch this team. So these two are my unwatchable games that I won't. I mean, I guess I'll review maybe the highlight reels, but I don't. I just can't see what the point of watching
No,
these games are.
no, it's the Monday night game is Tennessee at Miami. It starts at 7:30 Eastern, and then the Seattle Detroit starts at 8:15. And this is going to be just like the Buffalo game from this week, where I'll watch it. I'll watch because it's on the first like 20 minutes, and then I'll at that point I'm positive I'll have seen enough, and then I can just watch every snap of the Seattle Detroit game. So it's a perfect location for me because it's the only thing on at 7:30 Eastern on Monday. So I'll watch the beginning of it, and then I'm looking forward to. It's just a preview for the Seattle Detroit game, which I'm going to watch later. And again, you can tell we talked about this last week too. The over under in that game is 36.5, which is like a service academy thing. And it's because the offense, it's not that the defenses are that good. It's just that two teams are playing terribly. And I don't know how accurate this thing is. When you look at the schedule on ESPN, there's always a link for the tickets. And it says on that one, it says tickets as low as $24 for a game in Miami, which I can't believe an NFL ticket, you could get that for $24, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, so you're not alone with in terms of if that ticket price is right, that people aren't super interested in watching that.
Mm-hmm.
The other positive one that I had, or it was in the same category as the Dallas New York thing, like what if, like how bad it's going to be if this one goes the wrong way, and that's Cincinnati at Carolina. So Cincinnati all of a sudden is 0-3, right? And they coming up, they've got the Ravens, and there's harder games coming up on the schedule, and they're playing at Carolina, which a couple weeks ago was going to probably list it as an automatic win. But now if Dalton plays again, if he plays anywhere near how he did last time, that at Carolina could be, I don't know what the home field advantage isn't significant in Carolina, but it's something. So then all of a sudden you'd be 0-4 if you lose that one and then with the Baltimore game coming up. So that's in the same category as the Dallas New York one. Now in this one, I'm not going to be super going for Carolina because I like Cincinnati and I like it when they're good. And you've talked about this before. They should be a team that can handle KC, but it doesn't feel like it might happen this year. But that's that's one that's on my list too.
Yeah, I have a category called season could end, and it's the Jags and the Bengals. If either of them
Yeah.
lose, that's over.
Yeah.
And given how well the Panthers just played and whatever's going on with the Bengals defense, and then this has got to be a get right game for the Texans after getting their butts kicked at Minnesota. So if the Jags drop this game and the Bengals drop this game, that's it. I mean, I think only one team's ever made the playoffs that started 0-3. I think they said, and well, obviously no one has if they started 0-4. So
Correct.
if either of these teams goes 0-4, that's that.
Yeah.
Which is
and I don't.
shocking to me with the Bengals and Burrow, because Burrow actually played like a Burrow game this week. He looked
Look
great.
good.
Yeah. So it's just the defense. The defense didn't do their they didn't hold up their end of the bargain.
No, I don't see how Jacksonville's going to win that one at Houston because Houston's going to be fired up. They looked the worst they've looked was last game, and I think it's absolutely a get right game for them. So I think they're going to come out firing against Jacksonville. I don't see how Jacksonville stays close to that one. And then and then what was the other one? Cincinnati. Yeah, like it's 1-3 is you're still a long way out, but it's significantly better than 0-4. So that's a big game for them.
All right. I only got a couple other things here, just quick notes.
Yep, fire away.
I guess it's consistent with my guilty pleasure. Steelers, Colts, Rams, Bears. I just have to watch Richardson and Williams. I mean, they're probably both overmatched in both of these games, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the Rams are. They just took down
Mhm.
the Niners. I don't know what to think of them right now. And the Steelers
Well,
defense, I cannot see Richardson doing anything against that defense. But the way Richardson and Williams play, just the wild games that they play, wild
yeah.
highs and wild lows, they're just fun to watch. So I'm going to get eyes on both of these games.
Yeah, and the Rams, which is interesting because they started 0-2, but then they beat the Niners, and so if they beat the Bears, they're all of a sudden they're 2-2, and that you're in the thick of it with that, like as compared to some other teams we were just talking about. So that's another important keep it going kind of game for them. No, and it's I mean the Pittsburgh Indianapolis is almost a disaster watch for me because I'm worried about what Richardson's going to do in front of a really good defense, but you're right. It's the moments of greatness are worth it to compare to some of the turnover stuff. But I don't know. I don't know how much of that one I'm going to watch.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, that's all I got for the preview. What do you got?
Yeah, that's it. That's good for me.
All right. Well, stay tuned. That's it for the NFL preview for I guess, what was that? Week 4. And stay tuned for our NCAA week 5
Yeah, that was week
preview.
4. Week 4
Yeah,
coming up.
yeah. And we got NCAA week 5 coming up. All right.